Right.
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Brad.
There's several areas that I'm working fairly hard on in my life to turn around. How do I bring those areas into my meditation practice?
Well, interesting that you asked this question because, look, I have things like that are very difficult in my life, things in the past that were, and I often work inside myself and I just say to myself, what do I have to learn from all these situations? How can I grow because of everything that's happened to me in my life? The things I like, the things I don't like, the things that are good, the things that were stupid, and what do they have to teach me? And as soon as, that comes into me, my heart opens and I just embrace these people, these situations, all the things that have happened in my life. And instead of, feeling guilty or feeling unhappy or a victim of other people's nonsense, what do I learn? How do I grow because of what these people had to teach me? These situations had to teach me. And I find that this is a wonderful way of simply just opening your heart. You can open your heart to people who have done terrible things to you. And what do I have to learn from these people? What can they teach me? And why also did I attract these things? What did I give off to attract these situations into my life? And they no longer become cringeworthy situations. They just become opportunities to learn and to grow. And truthfully, we all have them buried inside us. And as you open deeper, they come to the surface. And suddenly, holy shit, there's that, and there's that, and there's that. They come to the surface. They want to be released. And they'll never be released unless we somehow learn how to make friends with them. Learn how to use whatever has happened to us in our life as a way of growing and getting closer to God. By simply doing that, we no longer hold that grudge, that revenge, that anger, that we're no longer the victim of somebody else's nonsense. We can open to it and say, okay, I am bigger than this if I learn from it. I will be smaller than this if I keep it repressed inside me, buried inside me, angry about it, feeling a victim because of what's happened in my life. But once you open and say, okay, what does this teach? You become bigger than it. And all of these little repressed memories and things, that they all begin to vanish. And what they leave inside a human being is a profound state of nothingness, which God can enter and fill you with that kind of grace. So you have to understand, the deeper you go in yourself, Rudy always compared it to drilling for oil. You got to go thousands of miles, feet into the earth in order to hit a pocket of oil. And as you drill for that pocket of spirituality in yourself, you're going to hit shale and rock and all kinds of crap that's happened to that you have repressed there. It's going to come up. And in order not to be a victim of it or to feel cringeworthy before it, you have to say, okay, how do I make friends with this? How do I open to this and allow it to truly teach me?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Brad. I mean, it's a very important question, Brad, because everybody goes through this. I've been doing this a lot longer than anyone here, and I go through this. This stuff comes up. And then I have to continue to develop the chakra system in order to get answers to this, because otherwise you're a prisoner to this for the rest of your life. And the whole purpose of what we do is to learn how to let go. You're not going to be able to let go of a lot of things in life until you can finally let go of yourself. And everything that's repressed in the unconscious, that's buried there, that we twinge every time or cringe every time we remember it. And it comes up. It comes up because it's asking us to let it out of its cage, to let it go, to let it become part of, cosmic energy, the universe of God, energy, higher. I'll tell you a story. I remember, I wrote that book, Leah, and I remember we went to see this healer. I won't say where or when or who or what, but we went to see this healer, flew literally across the country to see this person. And, after he went through the entire, examination of the young girl and the diagnosis, he said to her, never forget this. He said, you have to let go of the cancer. Let it become part of God's energy. Don't hold on to it. And that stayed with me. It was so profound when I heard him say that. Let it become part of the flow of energy in the universe. You have to surrender it. Don't hold on to it. Well, it's the same thing with all these pockets of guilt and anger, and we have to let them become part of the energy that flows in the universe instead of holding on to it and allowing it to create victims out of ourselves, cringing and, always this kind of self-defeat that takes place in a human being. But I'll never forget that doctor, and specifically what he told the young girl then. And it's so applicable to the work we do, because until we let these things go, we are a prisoner of them. And they create our personality, they create our ambition, they create everything we do in life, We're always a prisoner of these things that are buried inside us. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, how
Yes?
does transformation involve a union of opposites?
How does what?
How does transformation involve a union of opposites?
Well, it's like, it's like a dialectic. You bring together opposing forces, and that marriage creates a whole new way of looking at the world. You understand? So when you go into yourself and you transform all the things I've just been talking about into love, into joy, into you being worthy of being a child of God, you being a happy human being living in the world, you're creating a dialectic. You're unifying the negative and the positive. And then out of that marriage, a whole new person is born. A whole new level of consciousness is born. So the transformation of these things is essential if we're going to really reach to a new level of consciousness. And that's what the work is all about. I keep repeating this over and over again. It's going deep enough to uncover pockets of energy inside that can be transformed into love. So, Rudy always used to say, what's killing us can give us life. The mind is killing everybody. The energy of the mind is so powerful. Understand? And the thinking and the logic and the tension in the mind, it is so powerful that it's really ripping apart the world. But if you bring that incredible energy into the chakra below the navel, the absolute thing that is killing people is the exact thing that can give them life. You transform it into an energy that's strong enough to open the very core of your being, which gives you the strength then to open the heart, keep the heart open. It transforms you into a person that lives with a much higher degree of consciousness. So transformation is essential if we are going to grow inside ourselves. But transformation is just a word unless we learn how the craft of inner work and use the craft of inner work to make transformation possible. Otherwise, it's just a word, a new age word, Sounds good and people like it, but nobody knows what the hell it means or even how to do it. And just to put an addendum to this, transformation takes, the negative quantity in a human being, and it really turns it into something that is life-giving. Because look, positive and negative are just simply energy. It's the same energy, it just depends on how we see it. And if we learn how to transform positive and negative into just energy that can open the very foundation of our being, energy that can open our hearts, energy that can quiet the mind. We have transformed what is killing us into life-giving energy. Now, this is powerful stuff, but it's very important stuff, because the meditation itself will not be successful unless we use the craft of what we're learning here to do exactly what I'm talking about. Not because I want to be right or know better than anyone else, but it's just basic common sense. What's the point of doing something unless it effectually changes you inside? If it keeps you living on some, I don't know what level, and that's what you're satisfied with, you're not using the inner work properly. It needs to change one inside, because that's how the growth process takes place. And in order to change, we have to go deep enough to transform ourselves. If we don't go deep enough to transform ourselves, there are always excuses for why this and that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And life is just one endless excuse. As soon as you begin to transform yourself, there are no more excuses. It becomes living reality. The negative is no longer negative. It's just energy that we use to grow. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? They're very important questions, and thank you, because they're so essential to the success of this meditation we practice. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, there'll be a class tomorrow evening. And God bless you all. Thank you. And I know how much these classes are helping me in my life. I'm hoping that they're helping you also, and that they really are teaching all of us how to get closer to the one thing we're doing this for, and that is truly to become children of God, to become enlightened beings on the earth. So please, God bless you, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.